Okay, we'll start today's session. In previous session, we discussed about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In that, there are our needs are grouped into five various categories. Okay, you can see the five groups of needs according to Maslow in this figure. Okay, so he gave preference to the needs. Okay, so most preferable needs are basic needs. They are physiological in nature, like food, shelter, clothing. Okay, so those are the basic needs. Then economic and social security. Okay, so that is the second priority. Then social needs means, so people also need, our human being also need love and affection. Okay, so he has to love others and he has to get love or affection from others. So that is the social need. Then esteem, it is related to status. Okay, some people are more worried about their status. Okay, and how society treat them. They are worried about standard status, so those are esteem needs. And he gave least preference or least priority to self-realization. So where people may be are more worried about, or people may be concentrating on spiritual way of living. Okay, so or they may involve in any creative activities like painting, writing, okay, filmmaking, or even acting in dramas in theater. Okay, so those are self-realization needs. So that is related to creativity and thinking. Okay, so next we are discussing about motivational theories. There are various motivational theory. This Maslow's hierarchy of needs is one among them that we discussed in detail in the previous class. Okay, next there is another motivational theory suggested by Alderfer. Okay, so that theory is known as Alderfer's ERG theory. So the meaning of ERG we will discuss now in detail. Okay, Alderfer modified Maslow's theory of motivation and proposed a model reducing need categories to three. So, as we see in Maslow's needs hierarchy, there are five categories of needs, whereas in case of Alderfer theory, so he has reduced five groups into three. Okay, so Alderfer modified Maslow's theory of motivation and proposed a model reducing the need categories to three. So that is existence, relatedness, and growth. Okay, so first two needs of Maslow, so that is physiological needs and safety. Okay, so that comes under the existence. Okay, in relatedness, so these are social needs. So growth, esteem, and self realization needs comes under growth. Okay, Maslow's safety and physiological needs are the building blocks of existence needs. That means these needs are covered under existence needs. Social needs are similar to relatedness needs. Self-actualization and esteem needs make up growth needs. Okay, so again he reclassify the various needs. Okay, in Maslow's need hierarchy there were five groups. Here, yes, reorganized and grouped all the needs into three. So that is the difference between Maslow's and Alderfer's theory. Next, Erzberg's two-factor theory. Okay, so this is the theory suggested by Erzberg. So that's why it is called as Erzberg's theory. There are two factors that we will discuss. Okay, one will be hygiene factor, another will be motivation factors. So what do you mean by hygiene and motivation factor, that we will discuss. According to Erzberg, the absence of certain job factors tends to make workers dissatisfied. However, the presence of these same factors in themselves does not produce high level of motivation. Okay, read this statement and give examples. Which are those factors which, if they are absent, workers will feel dissatisfied? If they are present also, they don't get much motivation. So that means if there is a job, workers, these are the basic expectations of worker. Okay, so these factors don't motivate them, but at the same time, if there are if they don't get these things, they will get dissatisfied. Okay, so which are those factors?
Sir, holidays, sir.
So holidays. So that means leave. Okay. So there will be. That's why there will be CL, EL. So like that, there are different types of leaves facility available in the company. Okay. And in every company, they should provide this. If they don't provide, then workers will feel dissatisfied. But by simply providing these leave facilities, they don't get much motivation. That is also a fact. Okay. Similarly, for students, which factors will act like this? Okay, if you attend class, what is the basic expectation? So you should get attendance. Okay. So if you attend class, you should get attendance. That is the basic requirement. Even though, so just providing attendance doesn't motivate you. Okay, you don't get extra motivation if you get attendance for attending classes. So that means you need something else which will motivate you. Okay. Similarly, if you write correct answer for a question in examination and if you get marks, you don't get extra motivation with that. That is the minimum expectancy. Okay, since you have written correct answer, you are expecting that you are going to get marks. Okay, similarly in work environment also same thing. Okay, some of these things don't motivate, but if these are not provided, definitely workers will get demotivated or they will get dissatisfied. Okay, even after attending classes, if you don't get attendance, so what you are going to do or how you are going to feel? So definitely you will get dissatisfied if you don't get attendance for attending classes. Similarly, if you don't get marks for writing correct answer, so you will get dissatisfied. Okay, so these are hygiene factors. Okay, if they are present, they don't give extra motivation. But if these factors doesn't don't present, okay, if this in the absence of these factors, workers will feel dissatisfied. Okay, so this will be applicable for students also, as we discussed. Okay, next, Erzberg called these factors as maintenance or hygiene factors, since they are necessary to maintain a reasonable level of satisfaction to serve as a takeoff point for motivation. Again, if you don't get attendance, you don't attend classes. Okay, if you don't get marks, you don't write CIE. So that means these are the basic level of expectations. Similarly, workers, they need to get salary. Okay, they need to get basic benefits. They are the minimum level expectations. But with these, they don't get extra motivation. Okay, so these type of factors are called as maintenance or hygiene factors. So Erzberg listed these type of factors. Okay, so 10 factors he has listed. Fair company policies and administration. Okay, if the policies of the company regarding human resource, okay, so are well defined, then that is the basic expectation. Okay, so company will treat us in a fair manner. That is the that type of image will be created. Okay, so our people working in that organization are get satisfied. Okay, so with the policies. Next, a supervisor who knows the work. Okay, if the supervisor don't know the work, that will obviously affect the subordinate. If you don't get proper guidance, then he will be in trouble. You don't know how to do work. Okay, a good relationship with one's supervisor. Okay, so if subordinate is having good relation with his supervisor, he feels satisfied while doing work. Okay, if you don't have good relationship, obviously you will try to leave the job. Okay, these are the basic requirements to work in an organization. If there is no good relation between supervisor and his subordinate, then it is difficult to work. A good relationship with one's peers. Peers means so they are nothing but, so they are people working with them. Okay, so they are the peers. Okay, so in class, your classmates are your peers. So you should have good relation with your classmates. Okay, then only you can sit in the class and you can spend good time. Okay, so that is the good relation with peers. So then a good relationship with one's subordinates. Okay, if you are manager or if you are a first line manager, then you are having some subordinates under you. In order to take work from them, you should have a good relationship with them. Okay, so that is the good relationship with one's subordinates. So next, a fair salary. Okay, everyone will expect salary for his work. Okay, without salary, so almost no one will do work in a company. Next, job security. This is also another important requirement. That's why people prefer to have government jobs. The reason is because of the job security in those kind of jobs. Okay. Next, personal life. Okay, so people also think whether they will get sufficient time for their personal life. Next, good working conditions, status. Okay, people, again, this is also one of the need according to Maslow also. This might be an esteem need, but people also think, okay, if I work in a particular company, so how society will treat me. Okay, we know if people are working in some of the well established companies, uh, which have a brand value, then they feel proud to work in those institutions. Okay, so that is one of the need. Next, so there are other factors, that means motivators, which will motivate people to do their work efficiently. Okay, so they are the motivators. Opportunity to accomplish something significant. Okay, some people want to achieve something in their life. They set a particular goal or target. If the work is a path to achieve that goal, okay, so then they will feel motivated. Okay, recognition for significant accomplishments. Okay, if worker do a phenomenal job, okay, or he come up with an innovative idea, okay, so then he expect recognition. Okay, so that is the motivator. So that means that will motivate him to do good work in future also. Chance for advancement. So that means if based on the performance level, if workers get promotion, okay, so then they will get motivated. So next, opportunity to grow and develop on the job. So again, if you work in a company for 5 years, then if you are moving up in the organization structure, then again obviously you will get motivated. Chance for increased responsibility. Okay, so if you are too involved in a work, okay, you will expect more responsibility. Okay, and that will also may motivate you to work. So the job itself, okay, some jobs, the nature of the job, some people may like the nature of the job itself. Okay, so that may motivate them. Next, Erzberg noted that in the absence of maintenance factors, workers may feel dissatisfied. Okay, as we discussed, if you don't get attendance, you will get dissatisfied. If you don't get marks, even though if you have written correct answer, you will get dissatisfied. They are the maintenance factors. Even if you are working in a company, okay, if you don't get salary for your work, you will get dissatisfied. But the presence of these factors does not motivate workers. Okay, ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಂಬಳ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಅದೇ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಮೋಟಿವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. Okay, so that is the another factor identified by, or another observation made by Erzberg. Similarly, in the presence of motivators, workers may feel motivated, but their absence does not make them dissatisfied. Okay, so this is the nature of motivators. Okay, like bonus. Okay, so bonus, some manufacturing companies, they may provide bonus when the company is in profit, that some amount of that or some percentage of that profit will be shared among workers as bonus. Okay, bonus is a motivator. That means that is the additional amount workers are getting. That is other than the salary. Okay, you can consider regular salary as the maintenance factor or hygiene factor, whereas bonus as motivator. Okay. Next, so this is the comparison between Maslow's theory and Erzberg's theory. Okay, so maintenance factors fulfill these needs: physiological, security, and social needs. Okay, whereas motivators will tend to fulfill self-realization needs and esteem needs. Okay, so next, you can type your answer for this question. What motivates you to attend online class? Okay, if these two, if you are selecting any one out of these two, you can type one or two. If you have any other reason, you can type that reason. Okay, start typing in the chat. So this is the question. Okay, start typing. So no one is typing your answer. Okay, there are so three answers. One, two, or if you are selecting the third answer, you have to type specific reason. Okay, what about others? Okay, so most of you think attendance don't motivate you to attend online class. Even bonus points don't motivate you to attend online class. Okay, so the knowledge that you want to gain out of this course motivates you to attend the class. Okay, so like that, you can classify the factors as hygiene or maintenance factors and motivators. Okay. Next, McClelland's need for achievement theory. Okay, McClelland's need for achievement theory. According to McClelland, the three important needs are the need for affiliation, the need for power, and the need for achievement. Okay, so these are the theories based on the observations, based on their thought process. So these people have proposed theories, okay, which highlights what motivates workers. Okay, So this is also another theory. So he considered three things: the need for affiliation, the need for power, the need for achievement. These three things will motivate people to work in a company, in an organization, or doing any work. Okay, so people will get motivation out of these three reasons: the need for affiliation, the need for power, the need for achievement. Okay, the need for affiliation reflects a desire to interact socially with people. Okay, since human being is a social animal, okay, you want to interact with people. Okay, so that is the need for affiliation. Okay, so if he is isolated, then you don't get motivated, you will get demotivated. If people are isolated based on religion, based on caste, okay, based on their performance or any other factors, they will get demotivated. Okay, so that is the observation made by McClelland. Okay, people want to so treat them equally, okay, in a society or in any organization. Next, a person who has a high need for power concentrates on obtaining and exercising power and authority. This is another need. Okay, in politics, you might have seen people are more worried about getting power and retaining the power. In order to do that, they want to do anything. They may want to divide the society in the name of religion or caste. The reason is what motivates them to do all those things is the need for power. Okay, a person who has a high need for power concentrates on obtaining and exercising power and authority. Okay, so these are the things you might have observed in the society also. Okay, next, a person who has a high need for achievement has three distinct characteristics. So one is preference for setting moderately difficult but potentially achievable goals. Okay, you can consider now you are in fifth semester and you have to do mini project. Okay, so if you are really interested to do something on your own, okay, so you can observe these 3 points in yourself itself, in your team and your work, you can identify these three factors. Otherwise, if your preferences are other than this, okay, that you can realize. So if you are really interested to do something on your own, you will choose, okay, a difficult task which if you work properly you can achieve. Okay, so like that project you are going to choose if you want to do something which can be considered as an achievement. Okay, so then so you will choose a difficult problem. Next, doing most things himself rather than getting them done by others. Similarly, again for your mini project, okay, if you want to achieve something or if you want to gain knowledge out of it, you will do work on your own. Okay, you don't go for paid projects, you don't go for any consultancy. Okay, so if you get motivation because of a need or because of an urge to achieve something on your own, so then so you will work on yourself, you don't rely on others. Okay. Next, seeking situations where concrete feedback is possible. So then again, so you will approach your guide and you will discuss with your problem with your guide. Okay, and you will take feedback. So these are the things, these three things you can achieve while doing your mini project itself. Okay, so then you can realize whether you are motivated because of an urge to achieve something or not. Okay, that you can realize. Next, another theory, Victor Room's expectancy theory. According to Room, under conditions of free choice, an individual is motivated towards that activity which he is most capable of rendering and which he believes has the highest probability of leading him to his most preferred goal. Okay, as human beings, so we want to we want freedom. Okay, so that's why when you sit inside a room for 3 or 4 hours to listen to lectures, you earlier you are getting very bored. The reason is so you want to be in a free environment. Okay, similarly, if the work in the workspace also same thing. If there is flexibility, if there is freedom for you to carry out a particular task according to your wish, you will get motivated. Okay, that is the observation made by Victor Room. Okay, so if free environment should be provided for workers, so then they will get motivated. This is the theory. Not all will accept this theory. Okay, this is the observation made by Victor Room. First of all, he determines the relative importance of his various personal goals. He means here the worker or people, person working in an organization. First of all, E, worker determines the relative importance of his various personal goals such as money, security, recognition. These are the second level outcomes for him. Okay, so there are, we consider two levels of outcomes. Okay, personal outcomes are, or personal goals are second level outcomes, whereas organizational goals are first level outcomes. Okay, usually, so people are more worried about personal goals. Okay, if you are working in an organization, you expect to earn money. Okay, you expect to earn security in terms of, it may be job security, it may be economic security throughout your life, it may be recognition in the society. These are the personal goals. Okay, if you get a job, you want recognition that you are working in this company, the XY company. Okay, so like that recognition you want, then you want money. Okay, so these are the second level outcomes or personal goals. Okay, then the worker then determines the probability of the organizational goals, that is the prescribed standards of outcome and behavior leading him to his second level outcome. That means if he is working in a company to fulfill the organizational goals, then he will think whether I am able to achieve my personal goals while fulfilling the organizational goals. If I work for the company, so do I get money? Okay, do I get recognition? Do I get job security? Okay, these are the things that will go in the mind of a worker doing various tasks assigned by his superior. Finally, he decides what is his ability to achieve each first level outcome. This is expectancy. So that means some people may not have the ability to do work to the expected level of the managers. Okay, so then that will also observed by a worker. Am I able to so do my work as expected by manager? Okay. Theory thus recognizes the differences in motives or needs of individual, emphasizing the role of individuals' internal judgments. Again, as individuals, we think on our own. Okay, so that is identified by Victor Room. This model has several important implications for a manager. It tells manager that to motivate an individual, it is not enough to offer him rewards. He must also believe that the outcomes will be satisfying. That means he has to get self-satisfaction whenever he is doing his work. Okay, so ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ worker has to feel. The prescribed effort will lead him to those outcomes. He has the ability to put in the prescribed effort. That is the confidence to do a particular work. The prescribed effort will lead him to those outcomes. That means he should have trust. So this is also similar to the confidence. Okay. Next, Adams equity theory. The theory suggests that an individual's motivation, performance, and satisfaction will depend on his or her subjective evaluation of the relationship between his or her effort by reward ratio and the effort by reward ratio of others in similar situations. Okay, so this also you can see. Okay, when you are attending offline classes. Okay, so when you get a CIE paper, what you do, you will compare what your friend has written and how much marks he got. Okay, you will compare with your friends. Okay, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರಾ, ನನಗೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರಾ. So that is the human tendency. Even this tendency was observed by Adam also. Okay, people expect equal treatment. Okay, so they don't want to see partiality in an working environment. Okay, so that is the human tendency. Okay, so people, so they will compare. Okay, so how much effort they put towards work and what reward they got. Okay, if the level of effort and the level of reward they are getting are same, then they will feel satisfied. If they are putting more effort and getting less reward, they will feel dissatisfied. At the same time, they will compare what others are getting. Okay, so for example, if you write same answer for a question in the CIE, and if one get 10 out of 10 and if other get 6 out of 10, definitely one who got 6 will feel dissatisfied. Okay, since both have put same effort, have written same answer. Okay, so and they have got different marks. Okay, similarly this will happen with you also. Okay, there are other reasons, I don't go into that. This is the general example. People compare what they are being paid for their efforts with what others in similar situations receive for theirs. When they feel that inequity, that means inequality exists, a state of tension develops within them. That means if you think there is partiality, that means someone is getting more marks, even not writing proper answers, then you will feel dissatisfied. Okay, even if you are working in a company and if you and your colleague both are doing same work, and if your colleague is getting more salary than yours, then you will feel dissatisfied. Okay, so this is the theory proposed by Adam. So that means if you are at management level, okay, so you have to give equal priority to subordinates. Okay, in terms of salary and other benefits. Next, there is another one more theory, Skinner's behavior modification theory. Okay, according to this theory, people behave the way they do because in past circumstances they have learned that certain behaviors are associated with pleasant outcomes and certain other behaviors are associated with unpleasant outcomes. Dealing with the behavior itself rather than theorizing about motivations that caused it would appear to be both more practical and more effective in many instances. Okay, so this you can relate to okay, so your discussion in your class WhatsApp group. Okay, in fifth semester official WhatsApp group, so some students are discussing. Okay, you have to write comments in a polite way. Okay, and some are saying something. Okay, some students are not expressing their comments in a polite way. The reason is, again, it is that that behavior is part of Skinner's behavior modification theory. Okay, so because of your understanding of the society, okay, because of the things you learned from your parents, from the society, you have observed. Okay, you have to behave politely in most of the situations, otherwise you will be in trouble. Okay, if you behave politely, the expected outcomes will be good. If you behave in a rude manner, okay, so the outcomes may be okay, so it may result in few problems or consequences. That is based on your understanding of the society, okay, and understanding of the environment. in which you are studying, in which you are living. Okay, so that is proposed by Skinner also. According to this theory, people behave the way they do because in past circumstances they have learned that certain behaviors are associated with pleasant outcomes. That means if you behave in a polite manner, you can achieve your outcome. Certain other behaviors are associated with unpleasant outcomes. Okay, that means if you blame someone, you may be in trouble. So that you have realized based on your past experience. Okay. So and again based on this learning, you tends to modify your way of thinking. Okay, that is the behavior modification. Dealing with the behavior itself rather than theorizing about motivations that caused it would appear to be both more practical and more effective in many instances. This is another suggestion made by Skinner. So that means some people they have argued that behavior is caused, okay, so because of other factors. But here in case of this theory, okay, so no need to worry much about other factors which will create behavior. So directly concentrate on behavior. Okay, that is the suggestion made by Skinner. Okay, so this completes motivation theory. Okay, so these are just theories. Then you need not accept all these theories. You need not implement all these theories. Okay, these theories will help you to understand human behavior. Since management is nothing but you have to manage people. Okay, in order to manage people, first you have to understand the mindset of people. Okay, without understanding human behavior, you cannot become a successful manager. Okay, that's why you are studying all these behaviors. These behavior theories will provide you insight regarding human tendency or human behavior. Okay, so why human being think in a particular manner. Okay, what made him to think in that way. Okay, so you have to understand all this. To understand human behavior, these theories will guide you. Okay, and there are other theories. Okay, so there are other people. Okay, so uh, propose their own theories. Okay, so where they are arguing with these suggestions. Okay, that we don't go into that in detail. Okay.